Hi, this is Joe Tate, and you're listening to the Sports Fix.
The Fix is in. Call J-Rocc now at 216-539-7535. We want to hear from you now. 216-539-7535.
Here we go. Bring it on in. It's time now. It's all city. We got to do it for them, dog. We got to do it for Cleveland. They're waiting on us. Let's find what we're about. Let's get it going.
Every single night, every single practice, every single game, we got to give it all we got. Because they're going to ride with us. Everything that we do on this floor was because of this city. We owe them. We're going to grind for this city. They're going to support us, man, but we got to give it all back to them. We get it done. The toughness that we have on the court is going to come from this city. Everybody, the whole city of Cleveland. That's what it's all about. It's time to bring them something special. Let's go. Bring it on in, everybody. Let's go. Hard work on 3. Together on 6. 1, 2, 3. Hard work. 4, 5, 6. Together. 1, 2, 3. Hard work. 4, 5, 6. Together. It's all us. Cleveland on 3. 1, 2, 3.
Sports Fix listeners, do you tweet? So do we. So tweet with us 24/7 at the Sports Fix CLE.
Hey guys, J-Rocc here from the Sports Fix, and we always talking about using our platform to try to help the world and the society we live in, and everywhere I go and everywhere we go, bullying is one of the problems in today's society. There's nothing worse than any person, big or small, strong or weak, adult or child, feeling picked on, pushed around, vulnerable, and victimized at the hands of a bully. Change comes one person at a time, and my good friends at No Such Thing as a Bully are working on skills and techniques and ways that we can all change and make things better for everyone. Find out more at nosuchthingasabully.com.
Portions of the Sports Fix brought to you by Harry Buffalo. Catch every UFC pay-per-view live in full HD at Harry Buffalo North Olmsted, just outside Great Northern Mall. Harry Buffalo. Join the herd.
Live in Ohio, it's time to get your fix. The Sports Fix.
And away we go. Not just and away we go, but hot damn it, away we freaking go. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome in. Not just to the Sports Fix, Daddy, but I'm going to tell you straight off the bat, welcome in to a celebration. Welcome in to a day to enjoy ourselves, and welcome in to the very first radio show I've ever done where I have not prepared a word, a segment, a thing. I am literally sitting here trembling. That much emotion coursing through my veins as I crack this microphone. I've waited, 12 hours, 13 hours to crack this microphone since the Cavaliers won the NBA championship. Yes, the Cavaliers finished the season with no games left to play and no waiting till next year. The Cleveland Cavaliers won the NBA championship. And as I come on the air here, I don't need scripts, I don't need segments, I don't need plot lines, I don't need notes, cliff notes, I don't need anything. We've waited. I've waited for this show. We've waited our entire entire lives for this day, for this moment. And we're going to have a hell of a good time today as we get rolling on the Sports Fix. But my man Jim Pete from EverybodyHatesCleveland.com, he hit me up a little bit ago. And, I have not slept. I'm going to tell you on full disclosure now, I'm running on adrenaline and caffeine. The Cavaliers championship, the entire night was a blur to me. It just so many things that we're going to talk about here on the show. And this morning, I went to St. Ignatius High School at 7:30 in the morning, got in the ring, did some professional wrestling in front of 1,000 kids that were happy to be there and even happier to be there after watching the Cavs win the championship last night, and then I came right here. Dan Wismar is going to join me. The sports writer extraordinaire, Jonathan Knight's going to join me from Disneyland, Daddy. It is that big of a deal to get on the air today and to have some fun. But Jim was putting together a piece for Everybody Hates Cleveland, and he said, J-Rocc, I'd love you to be a part of this and tell the world your feelings and think and what makes this so special. And I gave him a little blurb that I wanted him to use, but you know what made this so special? It's not just the droughts and the videos and the stupid things that people constantly showed and the drive and the fumble and the shot. And we, all of us, have lived through all of those things together, suffered up and down those roads together. But yesterday, on Father's Day, I mean of all days, think about Cleveland sports. Think about how generational sports are in general. And then think about how fitting it is. And I am literally choking up as I say these words. But think of how fitting it is that of all 365 days in a year, of any day that these things could happen, for it to happen on a day like Father's Day in a city like Cleveland, I can't think of anything more fitting and any better way for Cleveland to finally shed this drought, this albatross, this collar around the neck of generations of people than on Father's Day of all days. And you know, of all the cities that it could happen to, of all the different places, all the different celebrations I've seen. I mean, one of the things that thousands of you guys, we've talked all night long. So many people say, I don't even know what to do with myself. But you know what? Almost everybody did. And this is what makes it special. This wasn't a championship because people wanted to buy the cool shirts. This wasn't a championship because people wanted the hats and people wanted to be part of the trendy thing to do. To a man, I know I did. I know everybody I've talked to did out there. I mean, when this thing went down, when the Cavaliers finally finished this thing off, fathers called their fathers and grandfathers, and sons called their fathers, and the ones that weren't here thought about them and sat and were with them. It was there's no words that I could even think of to describe what I'm trying to convey to you guys over the radio. That's special. What I'm trying to say is that this is something special that you will remember for the rest of your lives. If you're a Cleveland sports fan, you will never forget Father's Day of 2016, and it could never be more fitting. But just the very fact that so many, I mean, that's just how so many people chose to spend that day with their dads and their dads' dads and their kids, and generations will forever remember. I mean, all of us grew up. If you're 30 or if you're 40 or if you're 50, or it doesn't matter what age you're in. It's generational. You've lived through it all. I mean, I remember sitting on my bedroom floor as a child watching Ernest Biner fumble the football as I'm jumping up and down thinking that he is going into the end zone. I literally remember that was the very first moment in my life when I cried actual tears over a sporting event in the city of Cleveland. And we have all shared the ups and the downs since then. And here we sit on June 20th of 2016, shedding tears finally for the right reason. I for one, am not ashamed at all. I mean, obviously you guys, we talk, I'm very open on the air and my relationship with my dad and what it meant over the years through Cleveland sports. last night I literally could just sit there and all I kept thinking was, I wish my dad was here to see this, and I knew he was. And afterwards, just up all night. I spent some time with friends, and I never slept. I just up all night thinking of so many things. And multiply what I'm saying here, not times 10, not times 100, not times 1,000, but times 100,000, times all of these generational lives and timelines and storyline, all these groups of people that cross-section genders and races and times and creeds and colors that came together last night and finally, for once, we're able to stand and say, we are the freaking champions of the world. There is not a city in this world that deserves it more than the city of Cleveland. With that, I'm going to get things rolling. I've got callers on the line. I'm a freaking mess over here. We're just getting started. As I said, Dan Wismar from Everybody Hates Cleveland is going to be with us here in a minute. We're going to talk about the actual game, the ins and outs. LeBron James, MVP of the series, completes what will forever be known as the promise, and we're going to talk about all of that. Kyrie Irving became a man in this series. The Golden State Warriors collapsed. The Cavaliers, hey, you know what? Not only to do what they did, but to do it in the Cleveland way. There is not a way to do it that's more Cleveland, Daddy, than to do something that's never been done before when nobody thought you can do it, and you went out there and you told the world to kiss yo ass, and that's what Cleveland did. And they won the NBA championship. You're damn right I'm fired up. Dan Wismar, Jonathan Knight, going to join us here in a little bit. You guys are all over the phone lines. Let's get rocking and rolling with the Sports Fix. This ain't just your mama and daddy's edition of the Sports Fix. This is the Cleveland Championship edition of the Sports Fix. Stipe got it started. The Monsters kept it rolling, and now the Cavaliers are flying back from Cali with the Larry O'Brien Trophy under their arms and a championship banner for Cleveland. This is the Sports Fix. I'm your host, the Big Daddy on the microphone. J-Rocc, Jerry Myers with you here, and Daddy, it is a celebration. Whether you're listening live on TuneIn, TuneIn's radio app worldwide, on Spreaker, on Mixlr, their respective digital and mobile apps. Perhaps you're enjoying the show on 96.7 WFSN FM in Union City, Pennsylvania. Shout out to you guys on the radio dial. Perhaps you're listening live on our home base, thesportsfix.net. Make sure you bookmark it if you haven't. A great place to stay in touch with everything with the show. Visit our sponsor banners. They help keep this bad boy going free of charge for you. And you can listen to the show live in case any of your normal outlets aren't jamming. You can hit us up right there as well. Welcome in those of you listening live. That's right. You can now listen live on iHeartRadio worldwide. Shout out to you guys as well. Thousands of you that listen around the world that will be listening over the next several days to this episode on sites on digital delay such as iHeartRadio, the world's largest internet radio provider, on iTunes, on Stitcher Radio, on CarPlay, on all of the different places where you guys download, feed, subscribe, do the thing, and get your fix. We are doing the thing and getting that fix on today. 216-539-7535 is the number to call. 216-539-7535. I've got 15 minutes to take some calls from you. Then we're going to slow it down, get the news in, catch our breaths, because I'm telling you, I'm definitely wired up over here. And I'm sure many of you out there sharing similar emotions. I've just gotten several messages in. Apparently, some of you got as weepy as I did there. I'm crying for a friend. That wasn't actually for me. But anyways, 12:30, Dan Wismar joins us, and at 1 o'clock, Jonathan Knight will check in live from Epcot Center as he had to get a piece of this one. So again, 216-539-7535. Can't get through, hit us up on social media, facebook.com/thesportsfix, Twitter @thesportsfixCLE, email thesportsfix@AOL.com. Again, 216-539-7535, facebook.com/thesportsfix, Twitter @thesportsfixCLE, email thesportsfix@AOL.com. I have got so much more to say, so much more to get into, but I am turning it over to the people that deserve the floor the most, and that is you, Daddy. Let's take it to the phones. Cleveland, you are champions, and you are live on the Sports Fix. Who's this, Daddy?
J-Rocc, you there, baby?
Hey, what's up, baby?
It's your boy, Ronnie Rotten. Hey, I'd like to ring to the championship edition of the Sports Fix.
What is up, baby?
Woo! I was down there in that mess last night. Man, it was amazing. I tell you what, man. First of all, let me comment on Papa Bear, man. Your father would, God, man, he would be so happy right now. And that's something you just got to remember and focus on, man. This is something that, God, you guys would have, I don't even want to see how your father would have been. You probably would have walked out of your house and just going to get accidentally hit, you know?
I looked at my kids last night and I said, if only your grandpa was here to see this, because, see, you're going to get me going again. And that's what makes this, no. Look, man, I'm a grown man and I ain't afraid to cry. That's what makes this so special, is there are not any other cities around the world where thousands of grown men are crying because of a lifetime spent in this city.
I'm going right now, man. I'm crying right now. I cried my eyes out last night.
I'm with you, brother.
I'm 30 years old, J-Rocc, and I know I haven't been through a lot of the trials and tribulations in Cleveland, but I'll tell you what I have been through. A lot of fans who are in the older generation, and it's not that they lose faith, it's just that they're so heartbroken and so just they don't want to face, like, it's like that girlfriend who always breaks your heart, and you want to get back with her, but you know she's going to break your heart. And last night, she finally didn't break your heart, and it was the most beautiful thing ever, J-Rocc. I can't tell you, man. There was everyone from black to white to Indian to Asian to, hugging and jumping, embracing each other, loving each other. I've never seen something in a city, let alone in my life, like that, where a community and just a city has come together and we're high-fiving and hugging and crying with each other. Grown men, little kids. It was the most amazing sight I've ever seen. When I have a child, that might be the most amazing thing in my life. But until then, man, last night was the most amazing thing I've ever seen in my life.
I absolutely agree with everything that you just said. And, my goodness, to do it the way that they did it, it's just so apropos for this city, and to do it on Father's Day and to see the emotion. And we joke on and off the air about my feelings about LeBron James. And by the way, no. I'm going to shoot straight with everybody out here. You won't hear me say the words, you know how I feel about LeBron James anymore. And there's a reason for that. Because when LeBron came back, I was very, very vocal to this day about how I felt about the way he left. And when he came back, I said, I am not going to be like all of these hypocrites. And I'm not just going to hey, look, I felt strongly about the way he left. I said, that's cool that he came back. Let's see if he finishes what he said he's going to do. And if he's the real deal, then I will most definitely, hey, I forgive and let's move on. We all do things that we wish we didn't do or whatnot, and so what? Last night, he did just that. And that's just him, that entire team. But that is what happened. And at that point, it is what it is, which is yesterday's news. LeBron said that in the post-game press conference, and that really kind of rung in my head. Are you still reading yesterday's newspaper? Because today's newspaper says we are the champions of the world. And that drive, that you can tell how much he wanted it. Listen, man, I know that there's a lot of phoniness in sports, and I get judgmental. But when you see a grown man that's a billion-dollar man drop to his knees and cry real tears like I'm crying right now, that's the real deal. And you know how much it meant. And at that moment, you go, okay, it meant as much to him as it did to us. And at that point, it is what it is. You know what I mean? So we're good.
People don't realize is if he never left, we wouldn't have the team we have right now. There would be no Kyrie Irving on our team from a sign-in trick. There would be none of that. There would be no Baron Davis here for a year, and then we got rid of him. There would be none of that.
And Dan Gilbert said something like that.
But look at the kid. He hit the shot last night. LeBron didn't hit that shot. I love LeBron.
Kyrie hit the shot.
LeBron, and we're the reason why he won. But Kyrie hit that three, baby.
And you know what? Dan Gilbert, I loved him on the court when he was really raw and emotional after the game, and he talked about how you have to make mistakes in life, and you have to You have to do that to get better. And then the Cavs did, and LeBron did. Everybody made mistakes. But the process that came out of that took the long road, like everything in Cleveland does. It seems like a long time ago, June of 2010, right around this time in 2010, when LeBron James did the unthinkable and did the decision. It seems like a lifetime ago now, but all of those things came around to happen. And that team followed the lead. What have I always said when I criticized LeBron this season? I said that team follows every single thing that man does. When he gets an attitude, they get an attitude. When he gets lazy, they play lazy. When he gets angry, they get angry. 4 minutes and 35 seconds of keeping the greatest scoring team in NBA history scoreless. That was a team,
baby.
That was a team and a man that refused to lose in the last 5 minutes of that game. That's Cleveland right there, baby.
J-Rocc, man, I just want to tell you guys in Sports Fix, I'm so proud of Cleveland. I'm so proud of everything we did last night. You know, we celebrated and kept the peace for the most part. I almost personally got arrested for taking a playoff banner. A cop grabbed me and almost arrested me. But, you know, hey, there's people that could jump on police cars and destroy them, but you're more worried about a banner. I get it, Cleveland, Ohio, no worries. But
there was no violence. It was awesome, by the way. Great point. There was 100,000 people all around town in different places, especially that big throng downtown. And there was no violence, no damage, no craziness. I heard a police scanner last night, about midnight or so, and it was the funniest line you'd ever hear. The officer said, "Large crowd down here." They were checking in on him with security. And he goes, "They're not violent at all. They're just really happy people." And that sums it up right there. There was no stupidity. I was very afraid of that. I was afraid that we would not show, that we would not show our good side. But Cleveland was just freaking happy. And then everybody woke up this morning and said, "Holy cow!" Those of you that did sleep, that woke up this morning and said, "Holy cow, that really happened." Like, they're not going to take it away from us. That was real, man.
Yeah, you mean there's no extra review at the end where something happened and we got screwed?
No, we don't have to play a game 8 or nothing. It's over, and the Cavaliers did it. And here's the best part, and I'm going to bring this up with Dan in a minute. We always say we hate that phrase, "only in Cleveland," but it exists, but we just can't stand it. And here's the greatest thing, is that now you could really attach something really awesome to the phrase "only in Cleveland," because only in Cleveland do you come from behind 3-1 in the NBA Finals and win. Because for a city that's lost for 52 straight years, they won in a way that has never been done before. How freaking cool is that?
Hey, I love it, J-Rocc. And on my final note, before I get out here, let you take your other calls and other callers, I cannot wait for next season. The confidence that this team is going to have, destroying a Golden State team. This is going to be amazing next year, man. See, I can't wait, J-Rocc.
I can't even go there because we have spent 52 years to get here. We're going to enjoy this one, but man, the run's only about to start. Only about to start, baby.
All right, good Sports Fix listeners, J-Rocc, you guys have a great day. Celebrate, keep the peace out there, don't do nothing stupid, and have fun, guys. We got a championship here, baby.
Yeah, Daddy, championship. Thank you, my man. Thanks for the call.
No problem, J-Rocc. Take care.
You got it. Great phone call, you guys. Man, we're already up against the news break here. I've got calls in the queue. I've got calls coming in. Guys, I promise I'm going to get everybody on the air here. I've got Dan Wismar coming up just a few minutes from now. Let's go to the break. I promise, guys, if you left a message on the hotline, I'm going to get to it in a little bit. If you're trying to get through now, leave your take on the hotline. 216-539-7535. 216-539-7535. We'll get to it in hour 2. Trust me, I'm going to take plenty of live phone calls. We're going to take a break, get you a news update. Dan Wismar from Everybody Hates Cleveland. He joins us next, 1 o'clock hour. Jonathan Knight, the sportswriter extraordinaire. It's been a few months. He joins us when we keep rolling on this championship edition of the Sports Fix, baby. We're going to cry a little bit more. We're going to laugh a little bit more. We are going to have a hell of a good time. Thank you for joining us. Tell somebody else to join us. Tell your Cleveland friends that have suffered as long as you, that have suffered alongside of us, that there's a party going on and it's happening at the Sports Fix, Daddy. Share that link when we come back. Dan Wismar in the house. And you know what? I thought it would be fitting. When we hit this break, I want to play a little something for you. Frank Caliendo. Last year, 2 years ago around this time, he did a little impersonation of Morgan Freeman reading a certain letter, which just sounds even that much better come today because the promise has been fulfilled and the championship has been won. Dan Wismar joins us next after the news to talk about it. Don't go anywhere, Cleveland. We will damn sure be right back with more Sports Fix, baby.
Cleveland rocks, 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 Cleveland rocks.
Before anyone ever cared where I would play basketball, I was a kid from Northeast Ohio. It's where I walked. It's where I ran. It's where I cried. It's where I bled. It holds a special place in my heart. People there have seen me grow up. I sometimes feel like I'm their son. Their passion can be overwhelming, but it drives me. I want to give them hope when I can. I want to inspire them when I can. My relationship with Northeast Ohio is bigger than basketball. I didn't realize that 4 years ago. I do now. Remember when I was sitting up there at the Boys and Girls Club in 2010? I was thinking, this is really tough. I could feel it. I was leaving something I'd spent a long time creating. If I had to do it all over again, I'd obviously do things differently, but I'd still have left. Miami, for me, has been almost like college for other kids. This past 4 years helped raise me into who I am. I became a better player and a better man. I learned from a franchise that had been where I wanted to go. I will always think of Miami as my second home. Without the experiences I had there, I wouldn't be able to do what I'm doing today. I'm not promising a championship. I know how hard that is to deliver. We're not ready to right now, no way. Of course, I want to win next year, but I'm realistic. It will be a long process, much longer than it was in 2010. My patience will get tested. I know that. I'm going into a situation with a young team and a new coach. I will be the old head, but I get a thrill out of bringing a group together and helping them reach a place they didn't know they could go. I see myself as a mentor now, and I'm excited to lead some of these talented young guys. In Northeast Ohio, nothing is given. Everything is earned. You work for what you have. I'm ready to accept the challenge. I'm coming home. The end.
Oh, my God.
Wow. Hey guys, before we go to the break, I want to talk to you a little bit again about our good friends at Harry Buffalo North Olmsted, the UFC, the Ultimate Fighting Championships, some of the hottest fights in the world today. Each and every one of their huge events, Harry Buffalo is one of the few places in Northeast Ohio you can go there and watch each and every UFC fight at the Harry Buffalo. And let me tell you, I've been there. The people are out the door. They are to the rafters. It is one of the craziest environments for some UFC fights. Wing Mondays, they've got great deals on wings and drinks, and every day of the week there's a different special, a different deal. And don't forget the Bison Burger, the unbelievable. It is the combination of a fantastic burger and eating healthy combined into one unbelievable sandwich. You have got to get a Bison Burger while you're there. So whatever you're looking for, whatever day of the week, Monday through Friday, Saturday, Sundays, there's something for you at the Harry Buffalo North Olmsted, just outside Great Northern Mall. Check them out today. Harry Buffalo, join the herd.
Hey Cleveland, this is Tristan Thompson of the Cleveland Cavaliers, and you're listening to Sports Fix.
No football? No problem at Harry Buffalo North Olmsted. From their awesome Wing Mondays to every single Cavaliers and Buckeye Hoops games in full HD.
Kyrie split to D, goes inside, teardrops it home right down Euclid. That's way up in there for two.
The excitement never stops. Every day of the week brings a different set of food and amazing drink specials.
And now,
fans, Harry Buffalo North Olmsted is the home for every UFC pay-per-view live on the big screens.
Let's get it all!
And let's not forget their mouth-watering trademark, the Bison Burger.
They sure are good.
Nobody does bison like Harry Buffalo. The perfect combination of healthy and delicious.
Hey there, eat up, y'all. You's as good church-going folk. Y'all deserve a little treat.
What are you waiting for? Get to Harry Buffalo, just outside Great Northern Mall today. Harry Buffalo. Join the herd. Sports Fix listeners, like us on Facebook today. Facebook.com/The Sports Fix. Fantasy sports lovers, you put so much time, hard work, and effort into playing week to week that it quickly stops being a fantasy and starts getting real. And when the smoke clears, you want to show off those victories with a real prize.
I mean, a really real prize.
Nobody does that like Fantasy Jocks. The crew over at Fantasy Jocks have beautiful, high-quality, and heavy-duty championship belts, rings, trophies, and so much more for all your fantasy sports needs. There's literally only one place to go. FantasyJocks.com. Portions of the Sports Fix brought to you by Fantasy Jocks. Visit FantasyJocks.com, your fantasy sports superstore. Championship belts, rings, trophies, and more.
News break.
I'm Christine Lisi. LeBron James delivered on his promise when he returned to the Cavaliers 2 years ago to deliver an NBA championship to the city of Cleveland. An outstanding performance from James in Game 7 of the NBA Finals against the Warriors. 27 points, 11 assists, 11 rebounds. Also had 3 blocks, including a huge one on Andre Iguodala on a fast break in the final minutes of regulation. Kyrie Irving had one of the biggest shots in NBA Finals history. His 3 over 2-time league MVP Steph Curry with 53 seconds left. Cavs defeated the Warriors 93-89 for their first ever NBA title and Cleveland's first championship of any kind since 1964. James named Finals MVP. ESPN's Chauncey Billups.
This is why he came home. Put the city, put the state, he did it for everybody, for his parents, his grandparents, the people that taught him as a kid, his coaches. Everybody put him on their back tonight. It's been 52 years since they have won a championship in the state of Ohio.
Cavs' first team in NBA Finals history to rally from a 3-1 series deficit and win a title. By the way, President Barack Obama and his family stayed aboard Air Force One to watch the final minutes of Game 7. This after landing at Joint Base Andrews as they returned from Yosemite Valley, California. LeBron and company made a pit stop in Vegas to celebrate their championship at the Excess nightclub. The championship parade is set for Wednesday in Cleveland. Golden State Splash Brothers less than stellar performance in the winner-take-all matchup. Steph Curry, 6 of 19, 17 points. Klay Thompson, 6 of 17 for 14 points. Curry said the loss hurts, but the Warriors will return to this stage. Golden State forward Draymond Green accepted an invitation to play for the U.S. at the Rio Olympics this summer, reports the undefeated's Mark Spears.
We here at the Sports Fix want to make all of your dreams come true.
What about my dream?
Edith, I told you I can't build your candy house. It will fall down. The sun will melt the candy. It won't work.
It will if it never rains.
Oh, maybe not all of them. Get your fix on the Sports Fix.
Harmony, harmony, all love.
Doggone right, it's a celebration on the sports. It's a celebration, like Rick James, baby. We are back live. J-Rocc with you here. Dan Wismar from Everybody Hates Cleveland's going to join me. Jonathan Knight, sportswriter extraordinaire, down in Epcot, down Florida, doing the whole Disney Epcot vacation thing. He is sidetracking the vacation. I'm getting texts going, man, everybody's going to kill me. But there was no way that JK wasn't jumping in on some of this. 1 o'clock, he's going to be with us. Dan Wismar is with us now. You guys just keep it rolling. Thousands of you have been interacting through the social medias, Facebook.com/The Sports Fix, Twitter at The Sports Fix CLE, email The Sports Fix at AOL.com, Facebook.com/The Sports Fix, Twitter at The Sports Fix CLE, email thesportsfix@AOL.com. We're going to go back to the phones in hour 2. Right now, they're shut down. I've got Dan on them. You guys keep the comments coming. Like Alan Craig down in Louisiana, he said, hey, it took a while. Just like for our Saints to win that Super Bowl. Took a minute. But I know Cavaliers fans must feel like we did. You got that right, baby. I have gotten more comments like that coming in. Sam earlier said, I'm from Pittsburgh, and yet I was rooting harder than anybody else for the fans of Cleveland because even though we've got our differences, nobody deserved a championship. I actually had about a dozen people from Pittsburgh echo similar thoughts like that last night. A couple of my wrestling buddies from out there. I'll tell you what. Between their cocky behavior during the series and what I said weeks ago, I was amazed that it hadn't become a bigger and it's because LeBron's so polarizing. But finally, come Game 7, come the big comeback, the nation finally kind of rallied behind. I felt it yesterday. I don't know about you guys. I'm going to ask Dan in a minute. Finally felt the nation kind of pulling and rooting and wanting Cleveland to get it done, other than those people that needed something else to talk about today. We got something to talk about. Let's talk to my man, Dan Wismar, who's probably at a loss for words if he's like me, because it's easy to say, oh, come on, we're going to come back next week and talk about that championship. But how the hell do you actually talk about a championship, Dan Wismar?
It's hard to believe, J-Rocc. I tell you, if I was with you, I'd be hugging you right now, man. It's unbelievable. It still hasn't quite sunk into me yet after 52 years. I've been around for all 52 of those and conscious and, able to live and die, mostly die. But, yeah, it is incredible. It was an incredible game. The shot is no longer Michael Jordan's shot. It is Kyrie Irving's shot.
And the block. I'm telling you, I don't know about you, Dan, but that was when I knew the Cavs were winning the championship, when LeBron chased down Iguodala with that less than a minute to go and got that block. I said, that's it. That they're about to win this freaking game. I could just feel it. Although the last 45 seconds of that game felt like it took forever to play out.
Oh my God!
Oh,
yeah, I was up pacing by that point. I wasn't sitting down anymore. It was that block was incredible. And what Windhorst pointed out after the game, which I didn't really realize until that time, that the Cavs held them for 4 minutes and 30-some seconds.
4.5 minutes. To end
without a point. It was incredible. And
to
end
the
really
game.
Realize that
Yeah.
Until the end of the game. It was amazing.
Dan,
so it's just a buzz.
That's the thing, Dan. That run right there, when the Cavs could not get it in their basket, but they would not break on defense for that final 4 minute and 35-second stretch, and just Golden State would come back down, and there were the Cavs. I am the biggest critic of Kevin Love's defense, but for one freaking stretch, he played the best defense of his entire professional career, and it helped win that man an NBA championship because he was big. That last possession, he was all over Curry. I've never seen Kevin Love play defense like that. I mean, it was inspiring. I mean, you could feel that's the ship that rises the other ships. Say what you will. We've always said, like or hate or dislike or love or anything of the above with LeBron James, as he goes, the players follow. It's clear as day, and nowhere was that clearer in the positive than that 4 minutes and 35 seconds. They just refused to give up a point. They said, if we're not going to score, you aren't going to score either.
Yeah, it was really amazing. And and LeBron, as you know, it sounds crazy to say LeBron didn't have that great a game because he had 27 points and he had a triple-double, but he wasn't shooting the ball that well. He was a little bit off with his shot. I think he was 7 of his first 18. In the middle of the fourth quarter, he was 7 out of 18. He had a couple of buckets after that, obviously, and played great defense. But he really did rely on his teammates, and obviously when they called the timeout and they came back out and LeBron had missed his last couple of shots, and a couple times he had done the dribble out the clock and throw a three, and it hadn't gone down for him. I got to believe Ty Lue called Kyrie's number at that point because every Cavs fan, I think, was screaming for Kyrie to get the ball. And obviously that was what they called come out of the timeout, and he drains a long three. And
drained it.
That was it.
Not just that, cold-blooded, those layups, the and ones. I mean, Kyrie was huge.
Oh,
and
my God.
Did you guys,
Sunday,
Dan, did you catch the moment in the postgame when LeBron saw Kyrie and got up and went, and I there was a bit of an expletive in the middle of it, but he said, "Hey, I got some freaking respect for you, kid," and it got caught on camera saying that in the midst of the embrace to Kyrie. Like it was a moment between dudes, you know. And I will say this is the moment that Kyrie Irving became a man in this series. You saw a kid, and I was fortunate enough, or misfortunate, depending how you look at that first Cavs season without LeBron, but I was fortunate enough to be around in those years, those dark years, and I saw the early Kyrie Irving years and the frustration that he was going through, and the whole team, because they just stunk and they just lost no matter what they did. They didn't have the talent, they didn't have the coaching, they didn't have anything going for them. They were just hanging out there collecting picks, you know, and to see the journey of that kid, even through these playoffs, we saw the up and down Kyrie. And you and I, might have been last week, might have been 2 weeks ago, as we were breaking down this series, I remember that was one of the points we made, is how you finally saw in Game 3 and 4 the light go on, and even though they lost Game 4, in Kyrie Irving with how important every single possession from the first quarter to the fourth quarter means, and how you just saw a different, not just another level in scoring points, but you saw that urgency. And you know who put it great was Ty Lue after the game. If you heard what he said when he was asked, what did you say to the guys at halftime when you're down 7? And he said, I didn't think we were giving our best. He said, to be totally honest, I didn't think we were giving ultimate maximum effort, and you could see it in the results that we were doing, and we were hanging in there, but this wasn't what they were giving, and I knew they all had more to give, and I just told them that point blank. This is Game 7, and then they all went out there and stepped it up. But Kyrie particularly,
well, you know, I was thinking the biggest two buckets of the game, I thought, were the first two after halftime. I mean, you know, you're down 7 at the half,
right,
and that was the biggest lead they'd had. It was the first time that they'd ever stretched it out that far. And the Cavs came out, scored the first 2 bucks, made it a 3-point game right after it happened, and basically served notice. Now, the lead went back to 8 shortly after that, but, you know, the Cavs had basically said, hey, we're not folding, we're not caving.
No, they came out of the half, Dan, 28-14 in favor of the Cavs. And
yeah, I know, but immediately after we cut it to 3, I think they scored the next 5.
They got it right back, and instead of folding,
took the lead back to 8, but then that's when the Cavs run started.
That's when they went on that run.
Kyrie, though. Yeah, the other thing about Kyrie,
I think Kyrie got one of those circus and ones on the one end right after Golden State hit a 3 to make it the 8-point lead. I think Kyrie got one of those crazy and ones, and you're like, all right, 3-point play.
And you know, Jerry, those shots that he's making, I don't know that I remember ever seeing anybody finishing like that with both hands so consistently. And they're not even layups. You can't call them layups when there's guys between you and the rim, and you're like floating it up from 4 to 6 to 8 feet, and typically taking it off the rim, usually with some reverse spin on it. And it's just incredible.
Falling out of bounds. I mean,
how you do that stuff with both hands is amazing. The other thing about Kyrie that you remember last year and even this year at the start of the season, everybody's saying, rest him. You know, you're holding your breath every time he hits the floor, and because he's got the reputation of being fragile. Well, no more. The kid's tough as nails. The kid never, this whole postseason, no matter how many shots he took and how many times he hit the floor, he never got up limping. He never got up favoring the knee or the ankle or anything. He was tough and showed me toughness all through it. Bounced right back up off the floor every time he'd go down. You know, we got used to kind of holding our breath every time Kyrie took a hit because he had been so injury prone. And man, was he durable this whole postseason.
Dan?
Yeah, I'm with you.
Oh, there you go. You dropped off there. I agree with you. And that's a big one. Seeing him play hurt and stay in there. I mean, just in general, I believe that we saw the growth of Kyrie Irving into what we all thought he could be over the last couple of years. And I'll be honest, I think that the league should be on notice, because I think that this was the green light moment for that kid where he saw the example. And I think, I'll tell you what, he started to learn this lesson sitting there and watching last year's NBA Finals and watching what LeBron was doing, trying to keep the Cavs into that thing single-handedly. And I mean, throughout this one as well, and then being challenged as a man. I mean, it was different being here when the franchise was catering to you, and your goal was not to win every night. It was to develop. It was to improve. It was whatever it was, but it wasn't to win every night, no matter what the Cavs tell you. And to go into an overnight culture change like that, I mean, that's something. And I mean, that's why LeBron said what he said and then almost stole one last year. But you don't go from being the losingest team in the league for a 4-year stretch to just being ready to do it like that. And that was a testament to how close they came. But the lessons learned in last year's finals, I just think we saw it. And I think we saw it even as the Cavs were playing in this series. I think they got more aggressive as it went on. They got more desperate. I mean, really think about it. That was part of going back to what Ty Lue was saying after the game. That was one of the things he said. He thought that the reason that the series changed when the Cavs were down 3-1 is it was the first time that they felt that needed pressure, that whatever it was, that you either sink or swim. You either throw it out there with everything you got or you go away. And up until then, they had more games left to play. And he said,
that's true. And
Griff said that too. He said, we think we're better than we are all season long. And we started this series thinking we're better than we were. And then they learned we got no more games left to play after this. And then they started playing up to their talent level.
Yeah, and LeBron said what kicked it in with him was when people started writing him off. You know, it shouldn't take that, I wouldn't think, for a veteran like him to step it up. But he, that ticked him off. And when I knew that they were going to be in it is when there was no storm to weather early in the game. In other words, there was no big spurt by the Warriors to go up 6, 8, 10. When we're within 1 point at the quarter and we're within a couple points going into halftime before they stretched it out a little bit at the very end of the half, I'm thinking, this is great because there was no evident emotional, advantage that the Warriors had from the crowd or from whatever it needs to be. That it didn't appear to be there.
And you know what, Dan? They had everything going. I mean, Paul Pierce, he was the only person that saw the game the way I did at halftime when they went across the panel. Paul Pierce goes, hey, man, Cleveland's like 1 of 15 from 3. And Golden State has hit nothing but their three-pointers all night long. And the Cavs are only down 7. If I'm the Cavs, I think I can win this game because they've hit everything. We've hit nothing. And we're right there in this game.
Oh, yeah, we were one of 9, I think, at the half from 3.
Yeah, right, 1 of 9 at the half,
6 of 13 or something like that, yeah. And they ended up hitting, their 9th 3 before we got our second one, if I'm not mistaken. And yet it was still like a 2 to 4 point game. Yeah, you had to feel great about our chances. And really, the Flash Brothers, I just am glad that they got a little dose of humble pie. I don't know if you saw the meme. I saw it on Facebook this morning. It's a picture of Michael Jordan, and he says, 73-9 is a great record, but 72-10 just seems to have a nicer ring to it, and with emphasis on the ring.
Well, that's true.
And it was great. It was you went 73-9, and where are you? Second best. It was to their credit, they weren't crying and making excuses after the game, but I still was actually hearing people say, well, if Draymond had been there in Game 5.
To me, Game 6
can you imagine the crap that is? I mean, when he's there in Game 6 and 7 and they lost both of them.
Well, Game 7 he balled out. I will say that.
Oh, no doubt. He needed
Game
more
6,
help from the stars. And
Game 6 proved Yeah, but Game 6 proved that point, because even I questioned Game 5. I said, well, I wonder if it would have been different without Draymond. Game 6 proved that was different. But you brought up something I want to ask you, and I'm curious because you've got more years of experience than me even, so I'm going to ask you to think back. I was asking everybody this yesterday and last night and today. I can't recall, in the midst of a championship series, World Series, Super Bowl week, or the NBA Finals, I can't recall in mid-series one team so blatantly not only disrespecting the other team with some of their comments, but particularly one of the star players in the game, like Golden State was doing there in the middle of the series with LeBron. And I know a lot of people say, oh, you don't poke the bear. But regardless, we saw the results and it kicked things up a notch. But I just couldn't recall. And I'm curious do you recall a team being so brazen to go out there and do that? Like, I thought Golden State several times questioned the Cavaliers, obviously questioned LeBron's manhood. Klay Thompson was not the same player after he made those comments. I think whoever defended him was making a concerted effort to shut him down more, because he didn't have a game after he made those comments about LeBron's feelings getting hurt and being a man. And then Draymond came out and said, well, if I would have played yesterday, we would have won and this series would have been over. And I mean, they gave so much bulletin board material to the Cavs, and particularly to LeBron James. I was shocked. I've never seen too many teams. Can you recall a team doing that so much during a series?
I can't, because most times, the coaches are all over you not to give the team bulletin board material. But it's a different age we live in with social media, and I don't even really know where or how it was. But when Klay Thompson comes out and uses the word soft to describe LeBron, I think that was it. I think that's what flipped the switch in that guy. And he talked about, when people wrote us off, and I don't think he was talking about the fans. I don't think the fans
he was talking about the
really
Warriors.
Did.
Yeah,
they wanted to come home and get out there in Game 5 and beat them out there in Game 5, and they pulled that off. But I don't know. I don't recall it ever happening, because it's just verboten. It's just considered classless, and these guys, they're definitely. That's what I mean about humble pie. I mean, they needed a great big slice, and they got it. And it's Thompson especially, I think, is at fault there. Most of the other guys, Draymond too, but more Klay Thompson.
And Steph Curry's wife didn't help things out either, brother.
No, the wife didn't help, and that's the social media factor where in previous years she would have said something to her friends, and that would have been it. No one would have ever found out about it. Today, the whole world knows what her every waking thought is, whether we want to or not. So, that's just the new world we're in with social media. But no, in answer to your question, no, I can't recall anything like that, because coaches bend over backwards to prevent that stuff from happening. But these guys, obviously, you can't blame them for feeling confident up 3-1, but you got to have some smarts.
And I got to tell you, I felt like, I think I said this as we were just bringing in this segment, so you might have heard me when you were coming in, but I think that was that boorish behavior a bit, as well as the natural story of the 50 years and the comeback and all that. But it really did feel, especially over the weekend, once we were looking at a for sure Game 7, I could feel what I thought should have happened weeks ago, but I think it's just LeBron just makes it hard for everybody to look at them as the underdog. But finally, it felt like everybody wanted Cleveland to finish this thing off, wasn't waiting to write the next punchline or write the next joke.
And Jerry, how could anybody who wasn't already a Golden State Warriors fan, it's not like, because they were the defending champions. It's not like Golden State is searching for their, long-awaited title. They just had their long-awaited title. And it hasn't been as long-awaited as ours. And how could you not be a Cleveland Cavaliers fan? And you said something about LeBron being divisive. Let's put it this way. I think a lot of people might hate LeBron just the way that another team hates the great player in the league or the great player on the other team. But I don't think LeBron in his whole career has said or done anything to be labeled divisive in any way in terms of controversy or in terms of dissing people or in terms of saying anything but the right thing. He's only divisive because he's the best player on the planet, and other people wish he was on their team.
And I hear you about that. That's the natural thing that you get in other cities. I think what I mean is more along the lines of the way, obviously, I mean, I'm one of them as far as the feelings of how he left and came back. And all of that story finally wraps a bow on that, though. Like, and I said this in the first segment before you joined us. I said, hey, this he finished the second part of our little deal here that LeBron doesn't know anything about, but he went ahead and completed it. I said, hey, man, I've held him to a certain standard, and I've always opened with the sentence, well, you know how I feel about LeBron. Now, this is different. I said, hey, he came home. That's great. Did he come home too late? Are we going to finish this thing? He promised. He did what he said he was going to do, and it was such a galvanizing way that at that point, to me, even the most hardcore, and it's not, what I mean by this is it's not even a, he won the championship, like a bandwagon kind of thing. It was done in such a hard work and just an honest effort kind of way that there's no way that it doesn't erase whatever your thing may be. And I think this goes a long way to eliminating that part of the book. You know?
Yeah, I'll go along with that. And I think we also need to remember as we talk about the dark days of the decision, that even the people that were the most down on LeBron at the time were sort of sensible enough to say, I don't mind what he did, it's just the way that he did it. You know, that was the mantra that everybody went through. It was, you listen. You got some bad advice from whether it's Maverick Carter or whether it's your other buddies and agents and friends about the TV show and the decision and the interview and that whole business. Because even the people that were down on him for the judgment error about how he went about it. Understood that, hey, free agency, go for the ring, go play with your buddies Bosh and Wade, better chance to win a title right now, all those things that you didn't necessarily begrudge guys like Ramirez and Tomey and other people that, did similar things and grabbed the brass ring when it came around for you in free agency. The gripe against him was always the way he did it, or at least that's what people said.
I'll be honest, that was 100% it. My son and I literally just had this conversation over the weekend. We were driving around, and I told him kind of what we're talking about. And I said, that's it for me, son. I said, I'm all about free agency. I'm all about free markets. I mean, I'm a product, too. You maximize your brand. I get all of that. I said, he went on TV. I wanted my son to understand. I'm like, he went on TV, and he peed on the city of Cleveland in front of the whole world. And I said, that was what took it to another level to me and made it so hard to get over the top. And that's why, to me, he had to work so hard to fix it, because it's just like anything in life. I mean, everybody says, it's easy to say, it's another thing to do. And he did, and they did. And so now you go, okay, I get it. Like, we're all good. Like, I just believe that LeBron put it best. There was a reporter that really tried to get him to go there after the game. I don't know if you noticed it. It was the last two questions. The guy was like, well, LeBron, what do you got to say to the fans of Cleveland who might still hold a grudge over the decision? He goes, I'm on my way back for the parade, and I'll talk to them when I get there. And they go, well, in the meantime, what do you got to say about the fans that are mad? He goes, look, man, I ain't answering that question. I ain't going there. That's yesterday's newspaper. I don't read yesterday's newspaper. Tomorrow's newspaper says Cleveland won the championship,
Yeah, that's right. And he did the right thing. And like I said, talking about doing the right thing, the guy's always got good advice and has always been able to say and do the right thing and work in the community. And I don't think he's ever been anything but sincere in any of that.
And you and I have agreed on that. We've talked about how, with the exception of the personal thing with the fans of Cleveland that everybody has to deal with in their own way, he had never done anything like so many of these other athletes have done out there, because
in terms of embarrassing
this, that, or the other
his
thing.
club
He's
or his
always had
fans
the very
off the
squeaky
field.
clean,
No,
not
there's
just
never
squeaky
been
clean, but
a hint of anything like that. He's always been a stand-up guy in terms of his public persona.
So let me ask you a question before we jump off here now, because I know you don't have as much time as I would like, so I would get as much as I can here. LeBron James now We've talked about the 6 straight runs of finals and a window now here to open that up a little bit more. But 3 finals MVPs. Obviously, I mean, you've got him up on the list anyway. Some people asked me last night. They go, well, what do you do with LeBron now? I said, I always used to say he's in my top 10, my top 15. I said, he's definitely in my top 10 now. He's definitely knocking the door with the best of the best. But, there's still a few rings separating him and the guys that I've got above him. But he's definitely moved up into that group of perhaps the top 10 players of all time.
Well, yeah. In fact, I think I might go so far as to put him on Mount Rushmore.
Well, we have a whole higher respect because of how long it took to get this thing done here in general, for sure. He's definitely worthy of a statue. I had some guy I was watching the game with last night go, start building the statue now. Just start building the thing now.
Oh,
so it'll
exactly.
Be ready.
I think you can. And I don't know if you saw Jim Brown congratulating him last night on Twitter, but that's you got to go back 52 years for that one. But in terms of NBA greats, I do think he's probably top 5 at this point. And I will say qualify that by just saying that the reason that he is, and I've heard people speculating even last night and today that he's a greater player than Jordan, all the rings notwithstanding, because he's a better all-around player than Jordan. I mean, Jordan was a great defender too, but I'm just talking about rebounds, assists, points. When you finish number 1 in the NBA Finals in all 5 categories, including blocked shots, that's the proof that you're a great all-around player. And it's hard to look at any of the other greats from Jabbar to Jordan and on down the line and Bird and everybody that had the versatility that he does as an all-around talent. That's why if I'm picking 4 from Mount Rushmore, I mean, I think he's on it.
All right, I'm with you, man. I mean, I hear you. We're not even doing the Jordan discussion right now. He's up near the top. No. I don't care. Another day. I'm not even going to argue with myself on that.
That's not for right
He's
now.
the man. They're the man. They've won the championship. I'm good today. I don't care if you got him 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th. He's in that list. And hopefully he can continue that climb here in Cleveland, add another ring or 2 to that number, and then we can have fun going, well, what number does he finish on now, J-Rocc? I will gladly continue to move LeBron James up the list, guys. Trust me. We're about to have some fun. Well, speaking of fun, what are you doing? Because not only as you go, what a great weekend. The Cavs, obviously, the big kicker. Tribe comes in, fills to nearly 90-some thousand fans over the weekend.
I think it was about 85,000.
They killed it and swept the Sox.
25.
I mean,
I was at the game yesterday, Jerry, and it was cool because even when I'm showing up for the game at 1 o'clock, the crowd was already gathering for the Cavs. I mean, there's hundreds of people standing around that clearly aren't going to the Indians game. Although there were some serious lines at Gate A. I mean, almost all the way back to the queue, the lines were. And I thought they might have. I'd be interested to hear what the walk-up crowd was yesterday at the Tribe game, because there were a lot of people, I'm sure, that showed up for the day-long celebration. Figured, hey, why not go to the Tribe game here at 1 o'clock?
Absolutely. And I mean, was it not a beautiful sight?
They had 25,000, and I think 85 for the weekend.
They had 27 on Friday, 31 on Saturday, and 25.5 yesterday.
Yeah, so about 85, but. And I tweeted last night, just in general, hey, Cleveland, your baseball team's in first place. Go see them play.
And they're up next, baby. They are on deck, Dan.
Yeah, first place, Jerry. I mean, it's you said it. You said it when the Monsters won it.
I said it when Stipe won 2 weeks before the Monsters.
It's a trend. It's a trend, baby. So now you got Monsters and Cavs and. Who knows what next? We're not going to even talk about the Browns, but we've got a first-place baseball team, and if they can make a move or two, I think we can be right there in September and October, too.
You got that right. Are you working on a piece for the championship this week for Everybody Hates Cleveland?
Well, I don't know. There was a piece yesterday about some of the writers just kicking in about what the NBA title means.
Yeah, they jumped me in on that.
I'm getting ready to start warming up the Ohio State Buckeyes writing for the summer practices and getting ready for the fall. I usually do a breakout Buckeyes kind of a thing and talk about some of the players that are going to be that maybe the fans don't know about yet, but they're about to. And I've got that thing coming up for Everybody Hates Cleveland, and who knows what else. There's going to be a lot of aftermath stuff about Cavs and championships, and so I'm sure I'll be joining in on some of that too.
Absolutely. I'm sure they're going to be fantastic articles, and I look forward in the future to reading them, but I don't care about the Buckeyes right now. I don't care about football. I don't care about the pigskin. I don't care what the weather is outside. The Cavs won the freaking championship, baby.
Are you going to the parade here?
The parade on Wednesday. That's why we're doing a Sports Fix today, Daddy, because we going to be down there like everybody else, 100,000 deep, baby.
Sounds good. I'm going to try to make it myself if I can wangle away out of the office here.
Oh, but it's going to be fantastic.
Anyway, I got to roll, but I will catch up to you. Great being with you. Go Cavs. And
you got it, Dan.
Catch up to you next week, my brother.
Awesome conversation. My
Thanks,
man, Dan Wismar. You have a great day. Make sure you guys check him out. EverybodyHatesCleveland.com. And matter of fact, speaking of, in just a moment, I just missed him. We're going to reconnect. Jonathan Knight, sports writer extraordinaire, writes for DidTheTribeWinLastNight.com. Writes for Everybody Hates Cleveland. Jonathan Knight does all kinds of stuff. He's written books on all of the great Cleveland sports teams. And now, boy, he needs to do a Cavaliers one here in a moment because he's going to have to update. I'm looking over my right shoulder. Classic Cavs, Jonathan Knight's greatest 50 games in Cavaliers history. He's going to need to rewrite that one because I can see a couple in this playoff run that need to go there, including Game 7. You can call it the comeback, call it the shot part 2, call it the block, all of those above. Call it the defense because I'm telling you, man, I mean, not only to come from, I keep talking about, how appropriate and how fitting for the city of Cleveland to win a championship that way against the best regular season team with the best regular season record in NBA history, down 3-1, doing something no team has ever done before. But what a Cleveland way to do it when the ball's not bouncing your way at the end of the game, but to put your hard hat on, your blue-collar hard hat and lunch pail on for 4 minutes and 30-some seconds and shut the other team down. That's the most Cleveland way to finish that thing off, but with the hard hat and a lunch pail. It wasn't fancy slam dunks. It wasn't alley-oops and three-pointers. It was 4.5 minutes of hard hat, lunch pail, Cleveland blue-collar defense that won the NBA championship. And now we're going to talk about it with my man, our friend, the sports writer extraordinaire. He needs a new Cleveland Cavs best of book because this one doesn't have the championship in it. Going to have to update it. Jonathan Knight, sports writer extraordinaire. How you doing, baby?
Jerry, I am in the happiest place on earth. I mean, literally. I'm not the only one. I think there's a lot of people that are in the happiest place on earth. But as it happens, I actually am. I am coming to you live from the Walt Disney World Resort in Orlando, Florida. But nothing that's going on here can top what's happening in the real happiest place on earth in Cleveland, Ohio. My God, my friend, I can't believe we live in a world where this is happening, that this is real, that everything we've always dreamed and thought and hoped and wished and prayed would happen has happened.
I mean, I'm literally looking back, and you text me, like, is this real? And we're both sitting there last night. I mean, my man, think about this, guys. JK's in Epcot. He is down at Disney World doing the Mickey Mouse ears and everything with the family. He texts me back. I go, hey, man, got to be a part of the show tomorrow. He's like,
oh,
I'm
God,
in Epcot,
yes. I'm so glad. I'm so glad to be a part of this because, Jerry, I'll tell you what, man, and I've had several conversations like this in the last 12 hours with people. It keeps coming up, and I know I'm not the only one having this conversation, but everyone's having these conversations, and the phrase keeps coming. I'm so glad I can share this with you. I mean, sincerely. I mean,
yes.
People have said that to me. I have said that to people. I'm so glad. I've said it to my dad. I know there are a lot of people that, Jerry, you and I talked about it. There are a lot of people who wish that dads and relatives could be there to see this. Wherever they are, they're looking down on this. But for the rest of us who are lucky enough to have friends and family that we've endured these last 52 years, to share today with them, that's what's going to last forever. That's what we're going to remember is these conversations and last night and today and sharing this moment, not just rejoicing in the moment itself and enjoying the thrill of victory and all of that and all the style and splash and substance. It's these moments like this where you can share it and talk about it with friends and relive all the heartbreak and everything, all those sorrowful moments, all those heartbreaking moments we've been through that we can share today together. That is what makes this truly, truly special. We'll always remember about this day.
JK, I didn't get to, we were talking about so many different things with Dan, but in the opening of the show, I kind of said that, I cried in my opening segment. I literally lost it for a minute. I mean, who wouldn't? It just came out, and I'm thinking of, I said how this was such a Cleveland way to do things and all that, the way they won, the manner of it, the end of the game, all of those things. But when you look at the celebration afterwards, and so many times in these cities, and even in Cleveland when things happen, you look across social media and people like a party and they're looking for a good time and they're whatever, different motivations and all that. But and some of these parties you see in the cities, you see a younger generation just looking to be a part of the hip thing or whatever's the trending thing right now. But I've heard, had people message me, had people respond on the social media, and I just know for a fact, I'd be willing to bet if you could scientifically prove it, you would find out that this is true. But I'm willing to bet in no city anywhere did more people say the words, I called my dad. I was with my kids. I called so many people that I know turned down tickets to go to the watch party, tickets to go to the queue because they wanted to watch it with their dad, with their grandpa, with their kids. And if their dads weren't here, they said, God, I wish my dad was here. I wish my grandpa was here. Never in any city, and it may be in Boston when they went forever or something, I'm sure they had something like this. But other than that, I don't know of anywhere else that it was so deserved from that manner. That's what you heard from everybody. Not, boy, did we party. I got drunk last night on West 4th Street or whatever. It was, man, I was so glad I was with my kids, my brother, my dad, my grandpa, whatever it is. That lets you know this is deserved more than the cliche way,
Oh, in so many ways. You really hit the nail on the head. And you're right. I think the only real analog for this in recent memory is the Red Sox winning the World Series in 2004. For many reasons, not the least of which is the manner in which they won it. Everyone remembers that Red Sox team for being down 3-0 to the Yankees and making history that way. And the Cavs took a page out of that script and did the exact same thing. No team has come back from 3-1 to win an NBA Finals, and they were the first ones to do it. And you even pointed that out. I know we had talked about it last week as Game 6 and then Game 7 played out. That if you're going to do it, make history along the way. That this is the way to do it. And I think in the back of our minds, we always knew that if it was going to happen, it was going to happen in some historic kind of way. Just like with the Red Sox, it couldn't just end. It couldn't just kind of come to this meager little conclusion. It had to have this thunderclap of history, and that's what the Cavs delivered. Down 3-1, and just these little details just keep coming into focus. These little details you forget that kind of meld into the background that then come resonating back, and you remember it and think, oh my God. Not the least of which is Golden State. Every now and again, I'll just say, oh my God, this team was 73-9. This team only lost twice on their home court all year. The Cavs beat them twice in a row on their home court. Yep. I mean, little details like that. It's like, this is history making. This is epic. This is truly, truly amazing. And these details just keep playing in little bits at a time. And that's what makes today even more special, because as the day goes on, you hear these little tidbits, you remember these little tidbits, and it becomes even more special and even more meaningful.
I can't agree with what you said even more, man. And, like I said, I've made my peace with LeBron James, not just because the Cavs won a championship, not just from that aspect, but when you see the reaction afterwards. And it was it's one thing to say you're winning for a city. It's one thing to say you're going to win a championship, but that might just be what you do for your ego, for your reputation, for your legacy. But you could tell whether you ever believed it before. And trust me, I've made my man jump through some hoops here over the last couple of years. But when you see him drop to the floor and truly shed tears for what was just accomplished, that wasn't just about winning a basketball game. And that at that moment, you go, man, we're good, man. We're good.
Yeah, and that's exactly right. You could absolutely tell there's a difference between last night and between the two that he won with Miami. Yes. There's no doubt about it. That wasn't an act. And I think we knew all along his coming back that was not an act, the way he did it from the time. I was thinking too, Jerry, about the afternoon that he announced he was coming back. You and I were on the air live, and I thought of that. And this is sort of what we had in mind, pie in the sky, that this is where this would lead. I thought of that moment and thinking this is where this was leading. And I thought, too, talk about the symbolism of the calendar really quickly. Obviously, a lot of people have made the point that yesterday was Father's Day. I know J.R. Smith had a real poignant moment in the post-game interview with his dad, and there's a lot of connections there. Great moment, and as we talked with the father connection as well. But I'm thinking of it, too, just in the sense of all the fathers, including myself, really, at this point. I know you too, Jerry. All of the fathers who have sort of been vindicated that as much as we love it and as much as we love our kids and we try and pass these things along to our kids, there's that certain sense of maybe guilt that all of the fathers who have passed Cleveland sports along to their kids and then thought, oh my God, I've brought them something that will truly make them suffer. Like I've brought something horrible into their lives that will bring them nothing but misery. And finally, for all those dads who pass this along, they're off the hook. And then, of course, today being the first day of summer, after 52 years of winter, Cleveland finally has summer beginning, which is just a beautiful metaphor for this entire day.
The Father's Day thing, I mean, that was my opening part of the show. That was kind of what got me a little emotional, is for it, there's 365 days that the universe could have chosen for this thing to happen in any sport at any time. And for that to be the one in this city, with it being so generational, it's different than other places because we've reached, when you get over 50 years, I mean, you can spread grandpa to dad to kid and cover a whole large amount of a family. So with it being so generational, I thought Father's Day just made it so, just put the cherry on the top. Like, is there any other day that this could have happened, you know?
No, it's beautiful. I mean, it really is. And you look at the way that it timed out, and there's just so many things that the stars really did align. And I don't know that it makes all of the pain and suffering of all the last 30, 40, 50 years worth it, but it does put it in a different perspective. And to tie it in quickly, too, with everybody else, with all of the other Cleveland sports, you just get this feeling, we shall see how this goes, but you just get the feeling that everyone's just a sigh of relief that just goes through, that now, like, you can kind of relax in a way. Like, you just sense that, okay, I know Trevor Bauer even tweeted something yesterday, it's like, our turn. Like, it's just, it's kind of a cheesy kind of motivational thing to say, but at the same time, like, yeah, this is how, like, we just needed that one to open up the floodgates. Everybody can relax and just, we're not cursed. We're off the schneid. Now it's just, let's just take care of it. We don't have to deal with 52 years of frustration and failure. Right. Now it's just, hey, they did it. They cleared the path. Let's just do it. And just like we saw with the Red Sox. The Red Sox did it in 2004, did it again in 2007, did it again in 2013. Like, the floodgates open. Not saying that's going to happen to that dramatic of extent, but I just really think that, I think we talked about this, but if someone who, regardless of whichever team did it, all we needed was one, and everyone else could just, like, you just see the shoulders just relax and say, okay, they did it, so could we.
And I don't. You and I haven't had a chance to talk on air about this, but when this Believe Land, the 30-30 came out month or two back or whatnot, and how ironic it's. If you believe in karma, if you believe in whatever, it's almost like the universe just had karma dumped back on it, because the day that came out, Stipe Miocic won the UFC heavyweight championship, and that night, like, as that's airing on TV, Stipe goes out and pounds dude and wins the title like it's nothing. And I came on the air Monday or whatever day it was that week, and I was talking to Dan, and I said, Dan, think about this. No joke. Like, I believe in not karma, but I believe the universe works in certain ways. And it's just the transverse theory of things in life. Usually, whenever something happens so much in one direction, when it gets reversed, it usually comes just as powerful back the other way, whatever you can, transverse property, whatever you want to call it. And I'm like, you've got to think that 50, 51, 52 years, as long as that thing keeps going, that when it does go, it's not just going to go, it's going to be the reverse, and it's going to be a flood of things happening. And literally in that span since I talked about that. That's what Dan was just talking about in the last segment. He goes, you kind of talked about this. I said, I know. Stipe did his thing. Then right after that, whatever you want to say about the Monsters went on a hell of a run and did their thing. And then, boom, the Cavaliers followed that right up. Right. Meanwhile, here comes the Indians. They're coming out of the Cavaliers' shadow where we wanted them to be last year, brother. They just had 85,000 strong at Progressive Field while Cleveland was on fire, and we swept the White Sox and were in first place. The stage is set for the Indians to have a postseason at least run and a hell of a summer here, but it's like the reverse, and I honestly felt that. Before the season, I had the Cubs in the Tribe in the World Series before any of this other stuff happened, and I'm sticking with that, man. I think that the Indians are indeed up next.
Yeah, I mean, and I think you're totally right. I think we're onto something. And really, if you go back to the beginning of this whole thing, that when the drought really began, if you go back to 1948, when the Indians last won a World Series, if you look back to that, that was really the glory year of Cleveland sports. We had the Indians winning the World Series, the Browns winning an All-America title in their third year of existence, and the Barons winning a Calder Cup. I mean, they ran the trifecta in one calendar year, and would that, I mean, something like that, obviously we're not going to have a triple champion in Cleveland, I don't think, but something like that, and this is what that feels like. We're heading that direction, you're right, that there's almost like a very, very sort of poetic bookend to this long, long drought, that something like that is on the horizon. If not this year, then yeah, in the very near future. It really feels like the tide has turned and winds have shifted, and we are going in a different direction, and karma is with us this time, baby.
I cannot agree. I cannot agree more. And I honestly believe 2016 is that year. And I can say that because people go, well, what about the Browns, man? They're not. I said, well, the Super Bowl's in 2017. So technically they're out of our jurisdiction. I don't care when the season starts. 2016, we're good to go. Whatever happens with them later, that's on them, you know. But
that's the next calendar year.
Yeah, exactly.
I'll tell you quickly in closing. I got to get back to my kids before they beat me with Disney souvenirs. But quickly, you mentioned the classic Cavs connection. I guess I can officially announce officially reveal, I guess, to our loyal Sports Fix audience, we actually are coming out with a second edition of Classic Cavs this fall that will obviously include the run through the postseason this year and this year's finals. So there is going to be an updated version of Classic Cavs that'll be hitting shelves just around the time that the Cavs are hitting the court once again as world champions. So that's something to look forward to here in the next few months. I have some work to do, obviously, but it's all a labor of love and all totally worth it.
Oh, excellent. I can't wait to talk to you more about that. Go put the Epcot Disney ears back on. Go do the thing, man, before they...
Yes, indeed, sir. It was an honor. It was an honor,
brother,
Gary, genuinely, to share this day with you, with the listeners, and the day we've been waiting for in all the years that I've known you and all the years we've been Cleveland sports fans together. This is truly a blessed day, and I'm so happy to share it with you in the Sports Fix, man.
Same here. There was no way. I texted you last night. I said, look, I know we haven't talked in a minute. I only do the show once a week. I've been super busy with all this other stuff, but you got to come on with me for this.
Oh, man. I wouldn't have missed this for the world, man. We go way back. This would not have been complete without talking to you and doing the Sports Fix.
All right, JK. We'll get things going. Maybe once a month. We'll try to get this being a regular thing once again for sure, man.
That sounds great, man. That sounds great.
Enjoy your trip. Be safe getting back, and just enjoy everything right now, man.
You too, man. Every second. Savor it. Marinate in it. Savor this for the rest of our lives. They will never take this away from us. We finally got one, man. We got one.
They can't take it. Like, we woke up this morning like, damn, man. Like, it's real.
This is real.
JK.
This is real life. This is us.
All right, my man. Have fun at Disney, my friend.
You bet, buddy. I'll talk to you soon.
You got it. That is the sports writer extraordinaire, Jonathan Knight. By the way, if you enjoy hearing what he says here on the Sports Fix, tweet with him at @JKnightWriter. JKnightWriter, like writer of a book. J-Knight on Twitter, and great to catch back up. It's been a few months since we talked to JK. I know you guys are trying to get through. I've had callers coming through on the hotline. As a matter of fact, I'm going to go back to the phones here momentarily. 216 216-539-7535 is the number to call. 216-539-7535. We are talking Cavaliers championships. How are you feeling after this one? Caller, I'm going to the phones. You're next up on the Sports Fix.
J-Rocc Daddy, this is LG, and I only got one thing to say, baby. It's Monday, and what a Monday it is. It's Monday, the morning after. And all I can say is, we are the champions, my friend. LeBron kept on fighting till the end, so we are the champions. We are the champions. We are the champions. My friend, J-Rocc Daddy, generations of Clevelanders have to be waking up in a mood this morning that they thought they'd never realize in their lifetime. A championship came to the city of Cleveland after the curse. So many years we've heard of the curse. Maybe the Cleveland Browns will be next, Big Daddy. J-Rocc Daddy, I'm telling you, this was an exciting game, and I'm telling you, I didn't know what was going to happen, but I can tell you this. LeBron James would have gave his life to make sure the Cleveland Cavaliers won that basketball game. It feels good, don't it, J-Rocc Daddy? It feels good, baby. And I'm proud to say that the Cleveland Cavaliers beat the Golden State Warriors. Did something that's never been done in the history of the NBA. Came back from 3-1, like LeBron said. Records are made to be broken, and that's what he and the boys did. What a feeling it is, big guy. What a feeling. Talk to you soon, Big J-Rocc Daddy. I can't even talk. I'm so damn excited. Bye-bye.
My man, LG from Cleveland Sports 360. I'm excited as well. Left that on the hotline. You guys can keep the calls coming in. 216-539-7535. I'm going to go right back to the hotline. As a matter of fact, while we were listening to LG, got a call here on the hotline. Caller, you're next up on the Sports Fix.
This is Big Bob from Bristol, Connecticut, and all
Bob.
I can say is wow, wow, wow. What a seventh game. Best game they played in that finals. Beautiful. And now with that championship, everybody's going to be looking differently at Cleveland now.
Oh, I don't know what happened there. Big Bob got cut off leaving his message, but all the way from Bristol, Connecticut, congratulations to the Cavaliers for Big Bob. I'm just going to keep it rolling. 216-539-7535, 216-539-7535. Caller live on the phone lines. Let's keep the party going, baby. You're live on the Sports Fix.
Good morning, J-Rocc.
Good morning, Bruce, my man. How you feeling, baby?
I feel great, and I like everybody else. It's a pleasure to share this event with you. You know, I mean, it's like,
man, all of us
we
together.
have waited
It's
forever.
just, I mean it. Like, there was absolutely no way in the world. I got up. I was at St. Ignatius High School, literally doing a professional wrestling show all morning. Raced back to the house because I said, I'm not waiting until Tuesday. I'm not waiting until Wednesday. I have to be live. I want to be with everybody, all of us together, sharing this, enjoying this. I've been awake for about 36 straight hours now, and adrenaline is keeping me alive. It is amazing. I keep going back to last night, and this is not a joke. I know we all have this same story. Last night, from about 11 o'clock, I watched all the press stuff, and I was literally sitting there in between crying and going, man, I wish my dad was here. And boy, the thing I kept saying is, boy, I don't know what to even do, because it's never happened. It's in my entire life. Some of you are older than the drought. In my entire life, from the day I was born until right now today, never has a season ended where we didn't lose or whatever at the end of the thing. It's just never happened in my lifetime. And so I sat there and I watched these things and I was like, wow, we did it. And I'm texting and I'm congratulating and all that stuff. And then about midnight, I'm waiting to catch up with some friends that are in a mob trying to get back from downtown. And I'm sitting on my porch and there's fireworks and horns everywhere I went in the middle of the night last night. I was out with friends going and visiting people everywhere I go. People are hanging out of cars, beeping horns down the street, fireworks, celebrations in the entire city, all over the place. But I just kept going. Man, I could not believe it because I did not know what to do with the emotions that I was feeling because I had never dealt with them before.
Well, I went to Dick's Sporting Goods right after the game. They said the doors would open as soon as the game ended.
Which one did you go to?
Parmatown.
Oh, I heard they had some problems out there with some thugs or something. Didn't they have to shut down out there?
No, they the only problem they had was that they ran out of stuff.
Oh, okay. I just knew there was a disturbance. My friends went to go to the one in Parma, and they ended up not getting anything.
Yeah, because they ran out. There was like 1,500 people inside the building.
That's crazy.
I mean,
it was about
they
the
were
same.
climbing on tables, on racks, on everything, you know. And
North
they were
Olmsted
just grabbing stuff, saying, "What size you need?" and throwing it like 6 rows deep, you know. It's like, oh my God, it was crazy. But there wasn't any violence or anything. I mean, we all stood in line for like 3 or 4 hours waiting to check out.
The whole city, Bruce. That's how you know. Like, I remember when some of these cities, you know, the Pistons had never won an NBA championship. Remember when those bad boys teams won and they're flipping cars and burning. So many cities that went a long time without a championship. I've seen it in some hockey cities before. They flip the cars. They'll set a few of them on fire. And it'll be like a one night kind of a real wild thing going on. And you, if any place was going to get that stupid, you would have thought it would have been Cleveland because of but it was the
things
opposite.
that have happened to give us a black eye over
But
the
it was
years.
the opposite, Bruce. Everybody was I've never seen a city so genuinely happy that they could have a celebration that big and have absolutely no violence, absolutely no big arrests, no scenes, no property damage. There was one bar downtown had a window broken and a police cruiser got smashed by some fans climbing up on it. And other than that, that was it for all the stuff that was going on.
And that was the thing this morning was that there was like 6 arrests because people were out of control drunk. You know, I mean, come on.
Out of all the people that were there, if only 6 people got arrested, that's a hell of an accomplishment. I'm really proud. I don't even need to say I'm proud because that's saying you expect the worst. It just warmed my heart to know that it made the city so happy that they were just happy. I go back to what I heard on the police scanner. I'm telling you, it was about midnight or something like that, and I heard that they go, "What's your 20 or whatever?" And the cop told where he was. He said, "There's a real large crowd around me," and then something, and then the cop goes, "But they're not angry. They're just really happy." And you're like, wow, man, you know, I mean, that's a credit to everybody out there, and it just goes to show how much it meant. That's what I mean. Everybody picked up their phone and called. Maybe you're the lone, not you. Maybe somebody listening is like, well, I didn't call my dad. But I'm telling you that to a man, every person that I've talked to either called their dad, was with their dad, prayed to their dad, whatever, or was with their kids or with their grandkids or whatever. It was something that people did together.
Yes, exactly. I mean, you know, as soon as, you know, the game was over, you know, I was debating on whether to go early, and then it was like, you know, back and forth all night long, and it was driving me nuts. And, you know, it was like 20 lead changes. Come on, people. Somebody get a lead here and keep it, you know?
Yes.
And, you know, Kyrie hit that 3, and, you know, it was like, you know, I got to get to Parmatown, you know? I mean, I got to get to Dick's and get the stuff before it's gone. And, but like I said, there was 1,500 people in there. And they were like one big happy family. I mean, we were chanting, you know, CLE and Let's Go Cavs, and I mean, it was like family.
And you guys got to realize, Bruce right here. Bruce is a hardcore Cleveland sports fan, and he's been around for a long time. I mean, Bruce, you got the program from the very first game in Cavs history, don't you?
First game I ever went to, in 1970.
Yeah. That's amazing. I mean, that's when you see and that's the thing. I was joking. They kept catching these kids, like these teenagers, on the camera, and I'm like, stop showing these kids that haven't even suffered through 20 years of, and they're sitting there going, yeah, we finally won. I'm like, show me those 50-year-old men in the crowd that are crying because they've literally lost for 50 years alongside these teams and finally got it. Those are the people that deserve it the most. I mean, everybody does, but I mean, those were the ones I was happiest for. The people that just went through it year after year and kept coming back. All three sports, all the teams, everything, just keep coming back.
If you remember, I was called a historian by the Plain Dealer, which makes me sound like I'm 109.
You are,
you know?
Bruce. You are a historian of Cleveland sports.
But no, I mean, like my son, he comes over and he looks at all my old memorabilia and he says, I want to know how much you're worth when you die. It's like he's gonna have a garage sale or something. It's like, come on, this stuff is history. So, it's fun either way. I mean, I called my son last night and he was crying, and it was like, hey, you haven't even suffered, Wait till you're in the 7th game of a World Series with the team you've loved your whole life and lose,
Absolutely. And I had memories of that going into that game last night, man. I'm thinking,
everything was happening until Kyrie hit that 3.
Oh, I'm sure we could do the Cleveland sports thinking of what went down. I mean, I could tell you as I'm watching it go down. You and I were joking earlier off the air about Kyrie hits the 3. You go, man, now Curry's going to hit a 3 and get fouled, and we're going to lose by 1.
Yeah,
here's the best. LeBron, I thought for sure LeBron broke his wrist with 10 seconds left. And then we were going to have to go to overtime because they were going to hit a 3-pointer at the buzzer. And we were going to have to go to overtime in Game 7 without LeBron James. And I could just totally see the story now. Cleveland was 10 seconds away from winning an NBA title. And LeBron tried to dunk the ball home and win the game and breaks his wrist. And then the Cavs. I saw, just like you guys, every possible way that we could lose.
Every bad thought in the world went through our heads at that time.
Yes.
But it wasn't even that. It was like, wasn't it like it seemed like a day and a half between the time
seconds.
You woke up and the game started?
Yeah, absolutely. And then he misses the first free throw.
Oh, my God, like the longest day of the year.
And he missed the first free throw with a 3-point lead and the bad wrist, and you're going, oh, man, he's going to miss them both, and they're going to hit a 3, and we're going to have to go to overtime, I mean... Because the last thing I wanted was to go to overtime.
He made the free throw. I'm screaming at the TV, don't foul, don't foul.
Right.
It's like, oh, my God.
They were playing defense for that last 10 seconds, and I'm going, no, just put your hands down. Just let them do it. There is no 4-point shot in the NBA. Just let them go.
Don't foul them making a 3. Oh, Lord. It's like everything. It was like 50 emotions going through my mind at the same time, I'm trying to tell him what to do. I'm trying to coach. And then to see Ty Lue sitting on the bench just crying his eyes out. I mean, that wasn't even the bad part. When they showed LeBron, he's crying like a baby. It makes you want to cry, It's like, geez, can every emotion in the world just run through your body at one time?
That's the way
Plus,
it was
I was
for
mentally
so many
drained
of us last night. That is the way it was for so many of us.
I coached that whole season, come on. Like,
I'll tell you what, I don't know if you, I mean, it doesn't even matter, like, none of it. Like, it's almost like it didn't happen. We all lived through all the drives and the fumbles and the shots and all that crap, but it's almost like none of it even matters now. Like,
yeah, it doesn't even matter, right. I totally agree with you. It doesn't mean a thing anymore. We have what we went after, and LeBron came back and kept his promise. That's, that was a big thing for me because I've always been a LeBron fan. And, he kept his promise to me, And it's not just to me. I mean, it's to the whole city, but it feels like, he said he was going to do this. And, for me, that's what I wanted him to do.
And you know what? Here was an interesting number, just as we talked about all these generational things and the fans that have or haven't seen a championship. I saw this stat dug up this afternoon. 63% of the current population of the city of Cleveland was not born the last time that anybody won a championship, as in the Browns in 64. 63% of Cleveland was not even born. So if you're wondering how much of Cleveland is in that group that has or hasn't seen it, 2/3 of Cleveland was unable to have ever witnessed a championship in their life. And of the people that were, of the other 35% that were alive, only 4% of them actually lived in the city of Cleveland back then. So there's literally nobody left that was even around and living here when we won before, and even fewer of them left that were actual Cleveland citizens. That really puts it into perspective. I mean, and I'll be willing to bet that, well, we don't have to worry about this now, but had it gone just another, I think, 5 or 10 years, that would have increased to more like 80 or 90% of the people had not been around. Because once you start getting into that 60-plus year range, you're now covering whole lifetimes for large groups of people.
And when you were talking to Jonathan Knight, I was thinking, they gave away free tickets to Indians games. Anybody that was alive the last time we had actually won a pennant.
Die Hard Night.
Yeah. So I was thinking, as soon as I heard, Jonathan say, this is, one of the greatest days of his life, I think of them guys born in 48,
And I'll tell you what, I'm not going to lie. What a difference 6 or 7 years makes, 6 years makes, because I am not going to lie. I couldn't run away hard enough. I had no interest in seeing any of the pictures when LeBron was stopping in Vegas and they were partying in the heat and all. Boy, you could show me them pictures all night long last night of the Cavaliers. They stopped in Vegas last night on their way out and partied at a nightclub in Las Vegas, and then headed to Cleveland. As a matter of fact, the plane landed while we were on the air here. And I'm curious because I haven't been able to see. How big was the throng of people at the airport to meet the plane?
Oh, it was huge. It was huge. I don't know the exact number, but it was like, actually, just watching the plane land was like watching the space shuttle coming home the first time from the moon. I mean, that's how big of an event this was. I mean, there's going to be at least 100,000 people downtown on Wednesday.
That's what I'm thinking. We're definitely crossing 6 figures. I mean, I look back. Matter of fact, I'm looking to my left, and I've got that great picture from back in the day from the plane dealer of the Indians parade, and the black and white photo of just got to be 100,000 people there lining Euclid Avenue or what used to be Euclid Avenue. But I'm looking at that and I'm going, man, you got to think it's going to look like that. It's just literally going to be people for as far as the eye can see.
Yes, and I mean, Wednesday should be like Cavalier Day. Nobody should have to work, in my opinion. But that's just.
That's hard to do, but I'm with you. But that is so hard to do because, I mean, things have to get done in this world. But you would wish that there was a way that every person that wanted to go got the opportunity to go, because that is truly a lifetime coming for most people.
Right. 52 years. I mean, that's a long time. And, I can attest to that. I was 8 or 9 years old when the Browns won in 64.
Part of me was hoping that they would wait until the weekend because of the reason that it opens up more people to go and get an opportunity to enjoy that, But
exactly,
I know they wanted to get to it quick because city wants to do it and we want to party. But I thought that might be, but because I'm with you, it doesn't matter. I'll be honest with you, there's probably not going to get a lot of things in Cleveland done on Wednesday, so.
I was there in '97 when the Indians,
and that was
lost
large.
In Game 7. They came home. We had the party in the park.
This is going to dwarf that.
Well, yeah, but Dave Justice, when he said, "Is this?" He looked out and seen all them people. He said, "If this is what it's like when we lose, I want to be here when we win."
Right, right. So imagine what it's going to be like when the parade goes down, and hopefully everybody that wants to be a part of it can indeed be a part of it.
I mean, I'm not trying to be like an historian or anything, but, just things like that, little things just flash back in your head, like real quick, And I remember Justice saying that, you know, it's like, look at this crowd, you know. I want to know what it's like when you win. And now we get our chance, you know.
And
I mean, there's,
man, I don't know what else to say.
I'm at believe it or not, I'm at a loss for words.
I mean,
this is like the greatest event in my life.
We're an hour and 45 minutes into this thing, and I'm right there with you. Like, I'm sitting there going, now, what else can we say that's not redundant?
Well, I don't know. Your first
because...
caller kind of started it off when he said, you know, like, you know, I don't have any kids yet, but, you know, this is the greatest thing that's happened to me so far. You know, I've had kids. This is the greatest thing ever. You know, it's like, sorry, you know, I hate to break the news to you, but kids ain't all that. This is more.
I mean, here's the thing. To me, today doing the show, I think made me realize even more how much to heart I really took it, because I got emotional last night and I had some fun and I cried and I did all that stuff and it was up all night. And when it came back, when we started doing the show and I got all emotional again, because you think, okay, you kick it out of your system and then, you know, okay, now we move on, right? When it all came back even stronger today, live, right now on the air, than it even did last night after it happened, I went to the first commercial break before we brought Dan on the show, and I said, man, I didn't even realize that came back out like that, man. Like, when it comes back the second time, that emotional, then you start to realize how deep it is. I mean, every single one of us can go back and point to stories of whatever, parents,
yeah, like
kids,
Dan said, you know, everybody remembers, you know, their dad that started them on all this, you know, and you know, it's like, you know, your first segment of the show was great.
Everybody's,
you know,
everybody's journey starts somewhere in the 52 years. Some people start at the beginning. Mine started with the drive. The drive was the first one that I was old enough to remember, but the drive didn't make me cry. The fumble made me cry. That was the very first sporting event that brought real life sadness and tears to my child face, was the fumble, because I didn't even understand it at first, because I thought he scored a touchdown, and then I'm like, what just happened? I literally remember that, and that was the first one. That one. And I didn't cry about the shot because that was a first-round playoff game. People overemphasize the shot now. That was a first-round playoff series. I mean, there's a big difference in getting knocked out in round one of the playoffs and getting beat in the championship game or the conference champion. You know what I mean? The Browns were on the verge of going to the Super Bowl. I cried in that one. I did not cry when the Indians lost the 95 World Series because they were just so outclassed by Atlanta. Atlanta was a great team at that point in time. And the Indians didn't have the pitching, even though they had the offense. They didn't have the pitching. But 97 got me. 97 got me. That was when now I was an adult. That was the first one as an adult, or late teens, whatever, that got me again. And that was pretty much it. Like, at that point, my son and I were talking over the weekend. I was mentioning this, and I was telling him some of my journey and my dad's to get to, where I'm at in Cleveland sports world. And I said, what really changed things for me is two things. And it was, first, it was when they moved the Browns. That one, I cried more over that than anything else in sports to this day since the day that happened. Like, that was the last real tears that sports got out of it. Like, real hardcore emotion was when they ripped the Browns out of Cleveland. That one soured me to the financial side of sports when I saw a fan base just be allowed to get screwed over for money when they had not done anything wrong. All these other cities that lost teams didn't have a fan base. They weren't spending no money. They were bad fans. They were tired of these crappy teams. So there's a reason that those teams left. Cleveland is the one and only exception to that rule, where they were still at the top of the league as far as attendance and fan support and all of that stuff, and the league allowed us to get screwed over. That one really changed things. After that, I never got emotionally invested to where I would cry, and part of it's being an adult. As you grow up, you start to realize that tomorrow the rent's still due. Tomorrow I've still got to go to work. So you start to put things in perspective, but that one stopped me from getting too emotionally involved. And then when LeBron left, that was the other one that was kind of the bookend to the move that really soured me in general. And, because again, it was the way it was done. It was like Cleveland didn't matter to ESPN, to these big wigs, to everybody else. It was how quick can we pee in Cleveland's mouth and then move them out of the way for the real story, for the real team, for the real sports. And it felt like we were absolutely taken advantage of again. So I felt like, here's the sports world once again, just kind of shoveling it into the face of Cleveland sports fans, man. So those were the second half of my sports life that really changed things as far as the emotional side, man. And but to think back now, I mean, I can recall. I don't know about you. I lost Bruce there. 216-539-7535. Bruce, call back if you want. We got a couple minutes before I'm off the air. But I don't know about you guys listening. And feel free to send me your answers. Either leave them on the hotline, 216-539-7535, or hit me up on the social media. What was the first one that made you cry? And when did you stop crying? I mean, it's one thing to go, oh, we lost again, or get a little upset, get a little down for a couple of days. But what's the first one that made actual tears come? And what's the last one where you finally said, you know what, I don't cry over these teams anymore? I'm just curious. At the end of the day, the Cavs and LeBron James and Kyrie Irving and that whole crew made us all cry one more time. And finally, it was the right kind of crying. And for that, I thank them. Speaking of thank you, Charles Morgan sends me his comments on Facebook. He goes, J-Rocc, you got to read my take on the air. Thank you, LeBron James, for keeping your promise to the city. Congratulations. Let's keep the titles coming in. Indians are up next. Go Tribe. Absolutely, the Indians are up next. And Charles is another guy that was very much similar thought-wise into my heart as far as LeBron and his feelings towards him along the way. So, I think to a man, the city of Cleveland in general would look at this. Again, it's not, oh, he delivered a ring, because that feels like bandwagon stuff, And trust me, I know that people joke about being all in and being all out, and it's typical Cleveland fan stuff to go, oh, we're going to lose and we're not going to be able to do it. But everybody's all in every day of their life that they live here in Cleveland for the most part, and suffer through all of that. And I think that at the end of the day, anyone like myself that still did hold a little bit of feelings back about what happened back in 2010, when you see a man, not because he won, but because he felt so strongly about what he was doing. When you see a man gets emotional, as JK said, that was real. That wasn't an act. There's times I accuse these athletes of putting on airs for people and putting on phoniness. They do it all the time. That wasn't what happened last night. And that was when I realized how much it meant to him and how much it meant the connection. It was real. It was there. And, all questions answered. And that's when you go, all good, bro. You did what you had to do, and it sucked at the time, but, man, it don't suck anymore. It don't suck anymore, man. It's all good. And we're all back where we need to be now, and summer begins today, and the summer of Cleveland has begun a few months ago with Stipe, baby. Guys, I could keep this going forever and ever and ever, but I'm going to wrap it up. I'm going to call it a day, and I'm going to give you guys the chance to continue the party off the air and celebrate. We were playing that Kool and the Gang earlier. Celebrate some good times, because the good times are here. Look, I know that we didn't talk a lot about the Indians and we didn't get into a whole bunch of other stuff. There is a whole summer, Daddy, to talk about all of that. The Indians, hot homestand, sold out crowd, well, close to sold out crowds over the weekend, sweep of the White Sox, and now let's turn the attention to continuing to build that lead in the Central Division, because the summer of Cleveland is underway. Guys, enjoy some Tribe baseball this week. Enjoy the championship parade, man. How many of you have never heard? I've never heard that in my life. That's for doggone sure. Enjoy your parade, Cleveland. And we will be back here live next week. Dan Wismar in the house, of course. Who knows who else is going to join us. We're going to try to catch up to Mike Brandenberry from DidTheTribeWinLastNight.com as well. We'll start focusing on the Indians as they head towards the midway part of the season. We'll talk, I'm sure, about some, them guys that play football down at the coast. And I know we're going to talk a heck of a lot more about your world champion Cleveland Cavaliers. So enjoy the week, enjoy the parade, Daddy, and get back here with us same time next week, same time, same bat channel. And you know what? If you enjoyed today's show, please share it with somebody else that loves Cleveland sports as much as you and I and everybody else does, because we had some fun today, and the celebration will be on for quite some time. Guys, what a great show. Thanks to Dan Wismar for joining us, Jonathan Knight, sportswriter extraordinaire, all you guys who have chimed in throughout the show. Keep the conversation going. Facebook.com/TheSportsFix, Twitter @TheSportsFixCLE, or you can email me anytime, TheSportsFix@AOL.com. We're going to call it a day. Cleveland, you can call yourself champions of the world as the Cavaliers have won the 2016 NBA championship. We'll be back here live from Believeland, baby. The home of the NBA champions and the home of the Sports Fix, live next week, baby. Enjoy it. We'll see you next week right here on The Fix.
In the Tower City, all of that. Warehouse District, Euclid Corridor, and all the flat. You know that I'm a Tribes fan, and I love Slimans. Crockett Park's the perfect place for me to spend some time in. Baby, this is Cleveland. It is so much more to us. You can even go to Severance Hall to see an orchestra. Hey.